I love making fun of bad media more than Garfield loves lasagna. It puts a big old smile on my face, and I could talk about it for hours. But very rarely will you catch me double dipping into the communal salsa bowl and insulting the same thing in multiple videos. Usually, I treat it like a one-night stand. We share a night of fiery passion, fist bump, and then go our separate ways. That's proper etiquette. But that doesn't apply here. In very rare circumstances, I'll make multiple videos just ranting about how trash a piece of media is. And brace for impact, anime fans, because it's the unfortunate truth. As the title suggests, One Punch Man has absolutely shocked me with how bad Season 3 continues to be. It was roughly 3 weeks ago when I conducted my investigation and gave my initial review of One Punch Man's third season, and my findings as of now are obsolete. The data is archaic, because episode 5 just dropped a couple days ago, and I have to call to question embezzlement because I don't know where the budget went. Season 1 of One Punch Man was a damn near masterpiece. It was a great entry point into the medium that has only gone downhill since then, and that's largely due to the animation. I want to make it clear, this is not an insult on the franchise, just its anime adaptation. I know I keep making this comparison, but we are witnessing the making of something that rivals that of Seven Deadly Frames. Season 2 was promptly dubbed One Frame Man, and now that's becoming outdated because of Season 3. The animation is abominable. If I whipped out my DS right now and opened Flipnote Studio, I could probably animate something better than whatever they're using over at JC's staff. When I first reviewed Season 3, at the time there were only 2 episodes. But apparently a lot can happen in just 3 episodes because somehow this season keeps getting worse. I shit you not, in episode 3, there is a 2-minute scene that consists of only 9 frames. I'm not even exaggerating, here's proof. Apparently they didn't want to use flashbacks, so instead they created a 2-minute scene of exposition that was 9 frames. That is a PowerPoint. And I've actually seen a bit of conspiracy as to why they did that. It was most likely because viewers would probably notice the huge discrepancy in the animation quality from Season 1 till now. And I think that's probably right. I imagine if you aren't watching each season consecutively, you wouldn't notice a huge difference at first glance. But if you're like, well, most anime fans, actually, it becomes night and day. Plus, there are just some things anyone with eyes will call attention to, like that scene with Garo sliding down a hill. Episode 3 also had a huge fight that ended up being nerfed from what viewers were expecting. There's a lot I can say about it, but I'm just going to focus on 2 things. First, apparently the fight was pre-animated, and they reused about 75% of it. And secondly, which I think was the most noticeable thing, there was an animation error where they gave one of the male characters, the Royal Ripper, titties. It's a pretty laughable error, all things considered, because you don't normally see that even from bad animations. Usually, they can replicate the characters 1-to-1, but I guess one of the animators got confused on who they were animating. It was a mess. So that didn't leave fans with much optimism for episode 5, which was supposed to be all fighting. You would think that's where the budget would be noticeable, but it wasn't. The only positive thing I can say about this season so far is that it's drawn better than Season 2. Which I'd hope so, considering most of it is still images. Like, I'm not going to pretend episode 5 was the worst episode of the series. It was definitely tolerable, but I feel like that's the issue. The best thing I can say about episode 5 is that I could tolerate it. Which, for a series as beloved as One Punch Man, it just deserves better. I want to reiterate, I still don't think JC Staff was the best choice to animate a property like One Punch Man. From everything I know about them, this is not their genre of animation. But the more I talk about this, the more I realize it's probably not even JC Staff that's to blame. It's possible this goes all the way up to Bandai, who are feeding them scraps of the actual budget. From everything I could find about them, it seems like Bandai just wanted to do this for as cheaply as possible. They cared more about having the IP as opposed to the quality of it. So even though it's been 6 years since Season 2 last premiered, they just wanted to get this season done as quickly as possible so they could add it to their list of credits. I really think that holds a lot of weight, because I don't know how you could just sit on your ass for so long with a property as desired as One Punch Man and not do anything with it. Plus, they did something similar with another anime that got properly dubbed Frame Lock. If it's true they only cared about credit, well, congratulations, they got it. They are now credited for being the ones responsible for ruining the franchise. Bandai chose the cheapest options, skipped out along the way, and still gave us this egregious display to fans of the property. I also learned the director for Season 3 has quit social media altogether because they are being harassed by fans for how they've handled it. It really does suck to hear this. And apparently, it was even revealed the director was a hentai specialist prior to animating Season 3, which might explain that animation error with the Royal Ripper. Now, of course, I'm not saying making hentai means you're disqualified from making a good anime. I'm just saying I don't think specifically this team can. While they aren't solely to blame for Season 3 being such a disaster, they still proved this is beyond their expertise, and it doesn't do the series justice. But once again, I don't necessarily blame JC Staff or the director for how bad the anime looks. It was basically an impossible task from the get-go. They had no money to animate something with real gusto, and what they did animate was not the focal point of the franchise. It really is sad that this woman had a more detailed animation than Garou fighting the Monster Association. A lot of people also question why JC Staff even agreed to animate a property like One Punch Man when it is not the genre they specialize in. And that's super simple. It's because they agree to everything. While the average anime studio works on 1 to 2 projects at a time, JC Staff averages 5. However, if you average the score of all 5 of those shows, they get a 7 out of 10. What they make is mid, which is why they aren't in the clear for their handling of One Punch Man. They just aren't completely at fault. It's an onion with many layers. Anyways, while I'll continue to stomach through Season 3 of One Punch Man, I just don't see it getting any better. I haven't been impressed so far, and the only thing I found interesting, ironically, was this rabbit hole in regards to the decline in its animation quality. That has been more entertaining than watching the actual season. Learning it's been all about profit over passion. And that really sucks. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this and give y'all a little update. I still don't have much optimism, but I'm always down to be proven wrong. That's really about it. So,